That's been listed. to Elvia, and then Elvia can, she's got all, it'll be easier for her.
And I just emailed her a, change on the dates
Okay,
from October 1st, 24 through September 30th, 27.
okay. I think we're all in agreement with that, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we got it already done.
Mhm.
So,
The next thing, you all had some definitions, right?
I have not got those in yet.
Okay.
But what I do have, was the, huh? Yeah, cut them out and put them on a clean Word document and put them in red and put, what article it's about. And he's gonna send you some of our definitions.
Okay.
Then we had two on Article 3. The first one being the ABL, and the second one being the new hire orientation. And I will get that to you now.
Okay, yeah, so the first is the pool, remember where they get to.
Association pool.
Pool, associate, that's what A.
Okay. So they're gonna send us.
Yeah, they'll send you, they're gonna send us a proposal for that, and then for getting to speak to them at orientation.
Got it.
And you'll notice on the dates, I did change where last contract said, it started, October I.
Oh, yeah,
We
correct,
got
correct the
that.
typo, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just went ahead and put one, cause.
Yeah.
Though it's still one if we're going wrong with numerals.
Yeah.
And I sent those two to you on 3. And I believe Abel's sending you 2. if you'd like, where you can have paper, able to print them out, proposals.
Do you wanna, we can wanna print those and just have a look at those for, see if we can move on any of those? Yeah. Yeah.
I'll send them to the printer over here and I'll go grab them.
That way we can-
Definitions, ABL, and new hire orientation.
You sent me the new hire orientation.
I did last week.
Okay.
It was one that went to the trash.
Or spam.
Yeah, it's spam.
The
Yes.
junk folder. Ours get that.
So, if I act like I can't hear you, it's because I really can't, because two things didn't make the flight. My hearing aids and my boots.
Oh, no.
Oh my God.
Just wondered why you weren't.
I know, I
That's
saw
what-
that, I was like, wow, okay.
Because I forgot my boots did not make it, and I'm like, I am not buying a new pair of boots.
Yeah. Onto the suitcase, is that,
Ma'am,
they didn't make it onto the suitcase?
they did not make it into the suitcase.
Okay, I thought maybe you lost the luggage or.
No, that was leaving here last week.
Really?
Oh, no.
Oh, gosh.
It's not a nonstop? They just.
There's no
Oh,
nonstops to
that's right.
Corpus Christi
That's right, I
unless,
forgot you're.
unless
from
you're
Dallas.
flying from
I
Houston.
keep thinking you're coming from
Yeah.
Austin.
No, in fact, but that's where my bags went, Austin.
Oh, oh, great.
That is always so frustrating.
That's the third time in less than a year they've lost my stuff.
Yeah, they usually have gotten so much better at all of that.
Yeah, and they gave up on it.
Yeah, there's two.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
And we didn't print it out in color.
No, we don't have to.
That's okay.
That's because we're saving the city money.
Yeah, I mean,
And then we still had the ABL one.
The ABL one? Let me see, where's that one? Okay, yeah. The hardship too?
Not yet, we're not there yet.
maybe it would help if you kind of put them in context for us about like why you feel these are necessary, because they may affect another place in the contract.
You talking about the definitions?
Yeah,
I
the
assume.
definitions, yeah.
Well, cause
So the lateral transfers,
you basically have them already, or the ability, or that's what we're working for. And that's just where you can bring a higher, a more experienced officer in at a little bit higher than your base pay.
okay, so that's gonna conflict with the definition of seniority means the total years of service with the town of Horizon City.
It will not,
We will not?
laterals don't bring seniority with them. Cause the seniority applies directly to employees of Horizon City.
Okay, but I thought that's what you just said, that they'd be able to bring seniority with them if they
They'd
brought
be
it
able to
from-
bring experience with them and be hired at a higher level than someone just graduating an academy that's not already licensed.
Okay, but I think I do think that that's likely gonna conflict then, because if we're basing, well, and we haven't seen what your proposal is, so that may be the issue.
Yeah,
With regard to compensation,
yes.
that's, yeah, okay, so we'll just stick a pin in that one and see
Yeah.
what that looks like and how that, and my point being, it just probably affects other there's probably
Oh.
gonna be more changes that come.
We know there
that,
are.
okay,
Anytime you
make it, add a definition.
add a definition,
Okay, and so then the work furloughs, why is that necessary?
because they could potentially happen where there is some kind of thing goes on where the Horizon City gets very hard up for money. It's happened in other places where they have to do work furloughs.
So it's just a definition of what it means, the unpaid leave of absence, reduction in hours, or pay cut.
Yes,
But is there somewhere else that's gonna be relevant?
I believe it'll be relevant probably in the hours of work.
And then your board is your president, your vice president, secretary, and treasurer.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't,
And this is not gonna be all inclusive by the time we get to the end.
okay.
You are probably gonna have a bunch, or several more, and we'll have several more.
Okay, let's look at that. And like I said, I think the first one, it's not gonna be as easy for us to just say, yeah, we agree to those definitions, because we haven't seen the compensation section yet, because I suspect that's where that's gonna come into play. Or you've told us that's where it's gonna come into play.
Well, and I also, just because it's tentative agreement, if there's a change that we need to make in any of them that we've already TA'd and both sides agree.
Right, until we're done, we're done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
until we're done, we're still working.
Uh-huh.
It just gives us a little bit more structure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. On 3, the association president or CLEAT representative shall be permitted to speak to officers within the unit about association at shift meetings. Did that scheduling work? I thought that was already there.
That A is there,
Yeah.
that's part of the problem with it not printing out in red.
Okay, so that's already there.
Section B.
Section B was
B is-
what was being added, or what we're proposing to add.
Okay, so during the new hire orientation, the department will introduce the new employee to any member on the association board and allow up to 30 minutes for the new hires to ask them any questions. Chief had said 15, I think.
Well,
Well, y'all have.
I said up to,
Yeah.
because here's somewhat of my experience. You will run in when you're talking to new hires that are going through all that stuff. If there's more than 3 people, there will be one person that will ask 99% of the questions. And it can take just a little bit longer.
So you want us to introduce him to?
They'll be part of
Just-
on the agenda.
On the
like,
agenda.
It'll just be,
Yeah.
here's your association and
Yeah,
then, you'll get to,
that's why we put departments to the chief.
Yeah.
Cause I don't think you wanna be there introducing anything.
so our HR person is not here, and then my notes show that the chief asked if that, whatever, he said 10 to 15 minutes to discuss membership and then subtract it from the lead pool, and y'all said yes.
typically 15 minutes is adequate time, unless you get that one outlier that starts asking questions. Because that's why we put up to 30 minutes, because if it takes 2 minutes, it takes 2 minutes.
So this will be B, so then now everything else will be moved down one, like what's B will be C, et cetera.
Yes.
Okay. Another one for us, another, the AP, ALP,
ABL.
ABL.
And I'm not sure that, I've got it as D right now because it was a new section, but I'm not sure it couldn't supersede what would be the, if we agree to
Just
the-
adding
Yeah,
To C.
I'm not sure that, D wouldn't take the spot of what the current B is.
Or just, so the current B is the one that already talks about adjusting hours of work for the association president.
Yes.
So it could be just a sub-paragraph in there, do you think?
It could just, yeah, or just, take out.
And I think that's where it goes.
Yeah.
I do, because it's talking about
Yeah.
adjusting their schedules and for attending the CLEAP seminars, it's in here. Yeah, I think it goes, we'll tuck it in here, I think. Well, we'll try that and see what you all,
Yeah, and if you change the language where it's got everything all laid out to a much simpler form, where, when, it just says are required to administer the contract for any other association business that the chief approves.
but y'all have that definition.
And we did not have the ABL definition, did we?
No,
No, that'll be another definition
that
we'll
you
have
need
to.
to add. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
And then when y'all do your proposal to us, just remember that our HR people were asking for like a specific time frame when people can opt in and out one time a year, so y'all,
I gave him that, it's in the.
oh, it is already? Okay. Yeah, it's just,
It's in
just
black.
in Elvia's computer, okay.
Yeah, it's in black.
Okay,
But yeah, I'll just read it to you.
okay.
On each year on or before January 1st, the city shall assess from each association member 4 hours of accrued PTO leave or compensatory leave time to be placed in an association leave pool. Any association member who wishes to opt out of the donation must submit the form, which we'll have to get, appendix whatever, before December 1st of the fiscal year of the city.
Okay.
The association should be allowed to debit into the pool during the calendar year when association officers are required to administer the contract or any other association business. The association shall notify the chief of police in writing at least 48 hours in advance of such time off. The pool shall be cumulative during the term of this agreement. If the chief of police declares an emergency, he may order the association or any other association officers on ABL time to report for work for the pendency of the emergency. An emergency is an unexpected happening or event or unforeseen situation or crisis that calls for immediate action and requires the chief of police to order the association president or officers to report to work.
Yeah, we'll look at it. And you intend it to carry over from year to year, so if they don't use it all, it carries
Yes.
over. Yeah. Okay, but the ultimate goal being, after a few years, you should have enough that somebody could be
Doing,
just that.
well, maybe not just that, but at least part of the time that.
Yeah.
Which will take a load off the chief, because instead of being, well, he'll at least have a gatekeeper that's readily available.
So that takes care of 3, right?
That's our proposal on 3.
Okay. And then my notes show, we're good until we get to 8 again? Oh, no, 7, whichever, internal affairs investigation. It is 8.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I had, you all had some proposals for that.
And we do not have a proposal ready.
Okay.
Let's pull it up. Hold on. Huh?
Not ready?
It's not ready. It's, yeah.
Okay. And on 9. That's us, chief. Number 9, on the disciplinary grievance procedures, I think. No, this was you all, this was the one, cause we're talking about, I think in my notes I have that you all wanted to have, appeal of any suspension, right? And maybe you're not ready for that one.
We're not ready for
Okay.
that. 13, I had us both,
Yes,
and I believe I had us both on 14 also.
yeah, so in 13, that was where the city wanted to really make it very clear that the, off-duty work is a privilege and not a given, and requiring that the, officer be in good standing. With regard, and I think, yeah, this one is one where we probably just need to exchange, because I think we've got some
Yeah.
disagreement here.
Which leads us to another definition. Good standing.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, and y'all, just, because we both need to draft.
Yes.
So, the association's concern is that it's being used as discipline of whether or not they can work, their,
I'm not saying currently, I'm saying they have a
so
concern.
that it will be,
That it could be.
okay. and the chief is concerned about just them understanding that, you know,
Yes.
not everybody's gonna get to do it, and if you've been suspended, then that takes away that privilege. Yeah, we're gonna need, that one's gonna need support.
Yeah. Cause we'll also need to have a discussion, once you get on the not in good standing list,
How do you get off?
thank you. What's the duration?
Well, depending on the administrative discipline.
He's got another one?
No.
He's got another one.
I try to forward everything to yeah, it doesn't work.
Right.
Doesn't work.
Chief, you're like me, technology doesn't like me.
I'm challenged with my technology.
And I think we both still need to work on the proposal of promotions, cause we both had,
Yes. Yeah, that's where we caucused a little, and then you all were okay with, you didn't make the change about the observer.
yes.
But then.
We had one about the commander position.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, as an appointee.
There was something about hardship from you guys, right?
That was in transfers, which I think we put in to, we have a proposal already written for it. I think it was hours of work, overtime, court time. Let me. Yeah, we put it in Article 20, a new section 5. I'll email it to you right now. City tier. Can you print them out? Let me see.
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah, patrol.
While he's doing that, maybe we can talk about, I think we're the only ones that had anything in Article 8 that was the personnel file. I don't know if you all have anything in there, but.
Article 8.
We do.
You do? Okay. We haven't seen that. you that from HR and city's perspective, the last sentence, the written reprimands being removed after 2 years is problematic for us because of progressive discipline. So that's one that we would like to entertain taking out because it doesn't allow us to have a good record of past discipline.
Okay,
What article is that?
That's an 8.
In section what?
8, at the very end of that,
it's a big section.
section 8, section 3, article,
Okay.
article 8, section 3, C. And then at the very end, it just says written reprimands shall be removed from an employee's personnel file after 2 years. We'd like to request that to be removed because of progressive discipline issues. You all, on this hardship transfer, do you have somewhere a definition of what you consider to be a special hardship?
That's where you said that you already had to work and bring it up to HR.
Okay.
You also refer to it as personal, so is it personal or is it more general, like special?
It needs work.
Yeah.
This one will probably fold in with fitness for duty kind of discussion too.
Yeah, that
Because if
one,
people are asking to be reassigned from duty, there's gonna be some complications here with this one. hardship stuff might be better suited to be in the article that talks about bereavement leave, stress management in there, I think, because it's different than hours of work, overtime, and court time. I think it's
Yeah.
more a special, so let's look at maybe tucking it into the it's in the next section, article, I think, that's whatever we come up with there.
Well, it also depends on the hardship definition, because
Yeah.
what if we, you know, as a board decide and the employee brings an ADA
Yeah,
or.
it's gonna be
doctor's note?
complicated because of all of other laws that kick in. But we can talk to, we know what y'all are concerned about, we know what happens, so we'll talk with HR and see if we can. Now the big one, the compensation issue, that's the one that we'll take the most
All right.
work from our side for us to do our evaluations and what that
Okay,
looks like.
I was having a little bit of trouble because I couldn't find up in Article 8 that sentence you were talking about.
It's not.
It's
Article
actually in Article,
18.
yeah,
Or maybe that's what,
on personnel files.
okay, I'm sorry, I was saying 8 and it is 18, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was looking for it, finally found it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's 18.
I just, the Roman numeral,
Yeah.
I was looking at the 8 and not for the X in front of it, yeah, you're right, it's right there. Sorry. I know. It's like getting to be like the Super Bowl, maybe we just need to do it.
I know. I know, cause I personally don't even know any Romans.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with changing to Arabic numbers if y'all want, that's, cause I have to look at every time.
I do too.
Oh, yes.
Okay, but it's 9, you get the one over here.
Yeah.
Yes, and, yeah, that's when I was going nuts, cause
I'm sorry.
I read the whole Article
I was
8.
trying to
I'm like,
confuse you, it's
I
Monday
can't
morning,
find it.
it's Monday morning, and I know you don't have your boots on,
Yes,
so take
I
advantage of
know.
that.
So if we do math,
Yeah.
I can go 10 digits higher.
Oh,
than I
okay,
could
oh, that's why you
normally.
got your flip flops on today. But I just thought you were still on spring break.
No. I actually never got to spring break.
I
Skipped it all together.
I did.
Yeah, the sooner you guys can give us the wages and compensation, the better, because
Yes.
that makes Lily's job plugging into budget, and that's about the time, mayor and council pay attention. Yeah,
Yes.
the other stuff that's operational, they're pretty much look to the chief to solve that, but, it's to the dollars, so the sooner we can get that, the better.
So y'all had an interest in Article 21.
Oh, that was the 1,200 to 1,000, that was what that was, for the accumulated.
Now, would this change the city's policy as well?
The city's policy is even lower, they accumulate
even
only,
lower.
we took you, the
Ours
city's, you're only gonna get 800 carried over.
Right.
So,
Nobody's anywhere near that, but
yeah. So that brings you closer to what the non-uniform employees get to carry over.
what issue are we trying to fix?
The lack of being able to hire somebody until we pay them that.
Yeah, the budget is so tight, so when somebody leaves and they have a big leave balance, it's still coming out of his budget, his salary budget. So until he's taken care of that and paid that person off, then he can't fill the vacancy.
Especially if it's like a month's worth or 2 months.
Then we've got a month or 2 months worth of their salary that's staying in the budget, cause it's not being paid, cause they've separated.
Well, it's being paid.
It's being paid.
It's being paid because
In the
they've
form
got
of the PTO bank.
in the PTO bank, yeah.
What's the balance of those?
I think it-
Alright, but that was already done
I
with,
guess a
right?
bank was never created for
Thank you, ma'am.
situations.
No, my only question was,
Cause it's been going
as-
on for years.
as y'all said, and no one's even got close to that,
No, on the city side,
so you're got
on the
guys.
non-uniform side.
Right.
But on the police department, it has impacted his ability to fill positions,
That is correct.
which is, affects everybody, the whole department. Got vacancies, then it's a problem.
Okay, we'll talk about that in our caucus.
That was enough. Y'all had something on the rehire part too, on 22?
Yes.
This is association.
Okay.
22.
So on that one, that was the one that we were talking about probation to lateral transfer officers. The thing is that we didn't know if we wanted to put it on Article 22, which would, I don't know if it would fit there, or we would have to create another article.
Yeah, and actually, we had another one for deduction upon death of officer, which y'all shot down.
Wanted y'all to take care of that house yourselves. Association business.
Cause. So it probably wouldn't actually have to go under rehire.
That's what we discussed in the
Yeah.
So we didn't end up deciding if it was gonna be a new article or under another article.
Yeah.
we need a new definition for it.
Yes. So going back to the PTO payout, with the AG hour maximum that you can carry over per year, it's gonna take an employee 15 years to get to 1,200 hours if they don't use any time. That's a while.
Mhm.
And y'all are losing, y'all, do y'all have anybody in the department with 15 years? More than 3?
We have employees that have, more than $1,000 in
They don't earn 80, they earn 240
I can't hear you.
They don't, earn 80 per year.
That's
They
the
earn-
max they can carry over.
Correct. But they earn 200 and something depending on their time with the city. So they can use a lot of time and then carry the 80 every time. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But the chief says we do have some that have over 1,000.
During COVID, we allowed that.
Wake up.
Oh, whoa.
Whoa, wake up.
Yeah, in the room.
Right.
I don't think I have 1,000. I mean, the reason I save my 80 hours every year is just in case I have an accident,
Sure.
you know? I mean, not everybody is covered 100%, right? So 100% for me would be having that leave pool on the side just in case.
No, yeah,
Right.
and, yeah, that's what it's for, yeah.
I mean, that's what I like it for, you know? Coming from the military where I was having surgery after surgery after my deployments and everything, you know, the military covered me. I still received my paycheck every 15 days, right? And I didn't have no medical expense. And here we do have a medical expense, plus you're not gonna get paid 100% your paycheck because now you have to go through your, what is it called?
Short-term.
Short-term disability, correct?
You don't have short-term disability? Yeah, county doesn't.
No.
You want short-term or long-term, you do, or
You gotta
just
pick.
on your own?
But if you're here long enough, you can accumulate.
Well, I mean, you might wanna just look and confirm
Yeah.
that, so that they'll,
We have employees on our side too, on the administrative side.
over 800 hours, yeah.
Well,
We actually have a liability on our books
Yeah,
of over $300,000 on just that.
yeah, cause it's unfunded
Compensated.
liability.
yeah.
Just
Yeah,
compensated
'cause
absences.
before I retired from Austin, I had
Yeah.
well above 3,000 hours of sick leave, cause I'm the oldest person in my family had bypass surgery. So I was making plans that, cause I wasn't gonna come back in a month, I was gonna lay around and milk it as long as I could with my wife. That I was in pain and agony, but lo and behold, I never needed it,
Thank God.
thank God.
Yeah, so let's look at that, let's tell them how many
Yeah.
to have. And then you can explain to them why that. Can we, like, on the, I mean, I think I know, but I just kind of, so when we look at this hardship transfer issue, that we understand what your issue is. As, Elvia said, we have ADA issues, we have all kinds of, you know, medical leave, et cetera. What is not being, what are you attempting to cover here that you feel like is missing from our already in place plans? Because this seems pretty soft. This is like somebody just saying, I've got a personal issue, I need to be removed from being out in the field. And then 3 people sit down and vote on it, and then they get a transfer. So, now what is it that you all are attempting to deal with that is not already covered by law?
Well, I wanna say as in like pregnancy or someone that got hurt during work, you know, but they
But
can
why is
still,
that?
they
Like,
can still.
Injured at job is already covered by workers' compensation.
Right, but let's say he can still work, this person can still work.
But it would still be
not out
covered
in the
under
field.
workers' compensation, and so that's why we have light duty at different places where people go when they're on workers' comp. And pregnancy, I have to tell you that a lot of women would have a lot of heartache with you trying to move them just because they're pregnant.
But not all pregnancies are equal.
But if you still had a doctor's note or whatever, you know, your high-risk pregnancy, it's taken care of.
Where this comes in some places, is not so much being able to do the patrol officer's job. It's sometimes, such as a family life-changing divorce, where you had 2 parents raising a young child, where now suddenly you have a young female raising a baby by herself, and if she's on night shift, it's very difficult to find babysitters if you don't have family.
How is that legal to do that to the other officers? To say, okay, because this is a woman who has a baby at home, she doesn't have to work.
Same way we've had officers that have been moved from night shift to day shift, because they got diagnosed with,
That's a medical condition. See, that's what I'm saying, things that are in the law, if we're talking about treating people, I think you're going in, trying to take us into really dangerous waters and exposing us to liability for personal reasons somebody doesn't wanna do their job. And I think that's where you're gonna get pushback from us, because we try to treat everybody equally. And, you know, yes, we have to comply with all the laws with regard to ADA, and if they've got a medical diagnosis, all of that takes care of itself. So that's what we're saying, what doesn't take care of it? So just personal preference, which that's not gonna fly. And certainly then you'll have other officers who will say, wait a minute, why am I always on a night shift? Just because XYZ doesn't want to, or says it's a hardship for them to show up at night?
we're gonna need to caucus on this one.
Yeah, that one is, I really think from our that's what I'm trying to think, the whole time I'm sitting here, I'm going, well, that would get taken care of by ADA. Well, that would get taken care of by their workers' comp, that gets taken care of, so it's like, how are we gonna define this personal hardship? And then it becomes very subjective, because you have three people that are gonna sit in a room and go, oh yeah, we feel sorry for this one, so we're gonna let them change their duty assignment or their schedule. And I think that's a problem for us as that administer that. And it may actually not be a problem, you know, if we found ways to deal with it in the past. You guys need to think on that one.
Yeah.
So what, do we wanna separate and caucus on just some of the things now,
Well,
or,
I
cause we
mean,
haven't seen,
we haven't seen any of y'all's
Yeah.
proposals.
right, so, I can tell you, some of them are gonna be dependent, that's what I'm telling you, show us let's
Yeah.
talk the money kind of thing. Cause the money's gonna drive a lot of
Oh,
other
no.
things that, it always does.
Yeah.
What we can and can't do, and what, you know.
But if we could take a short caucus.
Yeah, and let's
meet.
just, wanna
Yeah.
do like, till 15 minutes right now, or longer? Wanna do a longer caucus?
Let's go up to
30.
30.
After 30, let's do 30 minutes, take a break for about 30 minutes, and then come back. We'll come back at 10:45,
Yes, ma'am.
and then we can decide what
Thank
we
you.
wanna do, yeah, and then we can look at the things that you've sent us too, if there's stuff that, we're looking for the low-hanging fruit, things
I
that we
know.
can agree to,
And I think we've
we've done a lot.
picked a lot of low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that, let's take a 30-minute break. We'll leave you in here for your privacy. And we'll find a place for us.
Sir, you're gonna have to.
Yeah, we're in recess right now.
We're in a caucus. Thank you. Well, I'll just tell you, last week.
Excuse me, Chief. Is this, are these meetings that the government is holding, is this, advisory in nature, or is it decision-making in nature?
No, they're just negotiations.
Oh, okay, but in regards to the city council, are you having these meetings to just advise the city council, or are you making decisions that the city council will just rubber stamp?
No, they're negotiations.
I understand the negotiations, but are formal decisions being made at these meetings?
No.
No, so the Open Meetings Act is not triggered by these meetings?
The Open Meetings Act is triggered by the meetings, but there are no formal decisions being made. This is the negotiating team, and we each submit proposals, and then we'll be able to make recommendations to the mayor and council of what the management team thinks should be approved. And then it'll all come to city council, and city council will vote on the proposals as they come up.
Okay, so once the Open Meetings Act is triggered,
It is triggered now. Negotiations take place, that's why you're in the room, that's why the door is open. Any member of the public can come in and sit and listen to the dialogue that's going back and forth. But when we do this, when we break apart and we're caucusing, it's just to kind of get a sense from us, the management team, and that are doing the same, the association's doing the same, saying, yeah, we're getting ready to say we can recommend that to our board. They have to take it back to their association board to vote on the contract too. So we're just in the very preliminary stages here.
I understand, and I'm not trying to,
No, I understand, just explain trying to explain the process, because it's not something everybody does every day, so, yeah.
right. So every meeting might be a little bit different, but in regards to the Open Meetings Act, I'm just trying to, because I'm learning too about
Sure,
the Open Meetings Act. I'm just trying to make sure that because the word triggered is important. So once Open Meetings Act is triggered, that's a legal thing.
Yes,
So
so the state statute requires us to post our meetings and to conduct our meetings, our negotiation sessions in public. So we are already subject to the Open Meetings Act.
okay, but there's many other criteria that also has to be followed, right?
Yes,
And which I don't know. I'm still researching.
right,
but-
so under the Open Meetings Act, basically what we need to do is we need to post an agenda that would give a reasonable person, any person, opportunity to know what we're gonna be talking about. So in our case, we're gonna be talking about, and you've been sitting with us, in very general terms, the contract. And so we're gonna go through the contract and we say, okay, there's no need, where's the need for changes, who needs change, generally driven by the association, right? They're the ones that call for the bargaining sessions. We sit and we, as the association team and the city's team, try to reach a point where we say, okay, these things are, you're correct, we found a typo, this needs to be fixed, we're missing a definition, whatever it is. The ultimate goal is for us to come together, and it doesn't always happen, but we would hopefully come together to the council and say, here's the contract that we think will work, and we've reached, I don't even want to call it agreement, but both parties are willing to recommend it to their respective boards. They take it back to the union board, we take it to the city council, and hopefully we reach an agreement. But yeah, this is all, but the caucusing is like, okay, they're gonna say, well, their negotiating stance, what they're going to say back to us about the things that we proposed. For example, like the easiest thing right now, we asked them to reduce the rollover of their leave request from 1,200 hours to 1,000. So they're probably in there visiting about that. And then we'll come and say, the big discussions will take place when they request they submit their proposal for compensation increases, et cetera. Then we take those back, and what can the city afford in the next budget cycle? And then that's what's going on back and forth that way.
Yes, ma'am, and I appreciate all those details. I'm not gonna keep you here all day.
No, it's
I know
okay.
you're
No,
trying to
it's
go on your
okay.
break, but
No.
one thing I'd like to establish here is that the people's business is being discussed in this room.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
so my main concern is where is the city council that represents the people?
Well, the city council will be in at the very end when they either approve the recommendation or not.
Okay, but that's why I keep getting at with the Open Meetings Act. The Open Meetings Act is very clear that to have an open meeting,
Right.
the governing body needs to form a quorum.
No. So we are subject to the Open Meetings Act. We, as acting as representatives for the city and for the union, we are now acting in that role. And so any member of the public can come in and observe observe what's going on.
Okay, and one last thing I'd like to add, I know you're trying to go,
That's okay.
but based on what you just said in the last sentence or two, I believe the Texas Attorney General would consider that to be a committee.
I think in statute, they actually refer to it as a negotiating team. Because this is specifically covered by state statute. So you have to
Yes, the
look.
Texas Open Meetings Act.
Well, the negotiation for police,
There's a separate.
there is a separate statute that
Oh,
talks
okay.
about how we do this.
Well, that's why you're the lawyer, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Right,
That's
okay,
right,
yeah, okay.
And that's why I'm happy to explain it too.
Yes,
because
ma'am.
It's not something that you see very often.
Right.
Every 3 to 5 years, the police department comes
Oh,
together.
and that's why I'm here recording.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And
thank you
we're
for,
very happy to have you.
thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, Mark. No.
Oh, sorry, guys. I didn't even realize there's people here waiting. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's all right.
Let me just get out of your way. I'm sorry, yeah.